The story begins with a poor boy who marries a rich, aristocratic girl, a wedding that people call the wedding of the century. But before the wedding, Hyunwoo had no idea that Haran was actually the heir to Korea's biggest business empire. At that time, right after her graduation, Haran was working as a simple intern in her own company as part of a plan. She was a girl who had never gone through any difficult task, so whenever she had to make a photocopy, she would start kicking the machine in anger. This scene was witnessed by Hyunwoo, and he thought the machine must have jammed, so he helped her. After this, whenever Haran started hitting the machine, Hyunwoo would immediately show up and help. Haran thought that the boy had fallen for her charm, but in reality, Hyunwoo had heard that a bad intern had joined the company, so he thought Haran might get fired. That's why he guided her on how to behave. But Haran said, "I don't care." At that time, Hyunwoo couldn't understand this, but as both of them kept working together, they gradually came closer, and their hearts also started connecting. On Christmas, Haran was stuck in the office waiting for her driver, and that's when she met Hyunwoo again. On that beautiful night, Hyunwoo expressed his feelings. He said that he graduated from Seoul University's law department and that his house is on rent, for which the entire year's rent has already been paid in advance. Hearing this, Haran becomes silent for a while. Hyunwoo then says that he doesn't lack money, and even if Haran gets fired from her job, he alone is enough to take care of the house. Then he confesses his feelings, that he has fallen in love with Haran. Giving her the umbrella in his hand, he says, "No need to hurry to give your answer." Haran wants to say that her driver is arriving, but by then, Hyunwoo runs off into the rain. From this moment begins their sweet romantic journey, and both of them become known as the perfect couple in everyone's eyes. But one day, when Hyunwoo finds out that Haran is actually the boss's daughter, he can't accept it and immediately resigns and moves to a village. Then Haran comes to convince him, sitting in her family's helicopter. At that moment, Hyunwoo feels that Haran is some kind of goddess or angel. They get married in a grand wedding, which people call the century wedding. 3 years later, as time changes, a little distance starts to appear in their relationship. But in front of everyone, the act of being the perfect couple continues. When a journalist asks Hyunwoo what it's like to live with a rich family and a queen-like wife, Hyunwoo smiles and says, "Living with the one I love is a blessing." On the other hand, Haran reveals her face in public so that people can understand that her husband was attracted by her beauty, not her money. When asked about their married life, Hyunwoo simply says, "Like everyone's life, we wake up together, eat, and go to work." But in reality, they live in separate rooms. Even breakfast is eaten away from each other. Even in the office, both work separately. They only meet when there is a disagreement on work. One day, there is a fight between them regarding the car cabinet decision. Outsiders think that Hyunwoo has got such a wonderful life, that he has become the son-in-law of a billionaire family. But only Hyunwoo knows that he has turned his life into a living hell, because he lives with a big family. Under one roof, not only father-in-law, mother-in-law, or grandparents, but also uncles, maternal uncles, and other relatives live together. Whenever Hyunwoo returns home, there's not even space to breathe for himself. Dinner has to be eaten with everyone, and after that, everyone sits and chats, like a daily family review meeting is going on. As soon as his mother-in-law sees him, she starts scolding him for being late. Then the younger brother-in-law tells everyone that his sister and Hyunwoo were fighting again in front of everyone. The father-in-law then says that they should have a baby soon, only then people will stop talking. And when the father-in-law says the baby should take the mother's surname, discomfort is clearly visible on Hyunwoo's face. Anyway, he had no plan to have a child, and now when he feels he can't even decide the baby's name, he becomes more certain in his decision. He sees that Haran isn't reacting at all to her parents' pressure. Later, he talks to Haran, but Haran casually says that even if a baby is born, there will always be people ready to take care of it. Hearing this, Hyunwoo goes angrily to his friend and vents his heart. The friend says that when Hyunwoo drinks, he looks really cute. His drunk expression touches the heart. Hyunwoo says that Haran also once said this. The friend smiles, a bit surprised, and says that he was only worried that Hyunwoo might lose his way while drunk. Hyunwoo says there's no need to worry. Whenever he leaves the house, a bodyguard is always with him. Then jokingly, he says that every day he counts the leaves on a tree to decide whether to get a divorce, but every time, the result comes out as should not get one. The friend tells him that this is exactly a sign from fate. Meanwhile, on the other side, Haran outwardly ignores her husband, but deep inside, she starts discussing the matter with her brother Soo-jun. A few days later, Hyunwoo comes home and walks straight toward Haran's room. Haran also hears his footsteps. Both of them hold the door handle at the same time, but neither of them opens it first. Ego and misunderstanding grow even deeper between them. The next day, Hyunwoo goes to jail to meet Haran's aunt. The aunt had pulled the hair of their grandfather's girlfriend, after which the grandfather, in anger, sent her to jail. The aunt thinks that her mother's death happened because of that woman. Shortly after, Haran's grandmother's death anniversary arrives. That day, the whole family prepares in the kitchen for the rituals. According to family tradition, all items for the ritual must be prepared by the boys, but the grandfather's favorite son doesn't even step into the kitchen, so all the responsibility falls on the sons-in-law. When the function starts, the aunt returns home from jail. The grandfather immediately asks Hyunwoo, "Why did she get leave today?" Hyunwoo says that the grandfather himself had said earlier that she would fall ill in jail during winter, so he got her released. The aunt then angrily starts confronting the grandfather, saying he got so entangled with another woman that he ended up killing his own wife. The father-in-law quickly intervenes and says that the mother died of a heart condition, and this condition could also be genetic. By the time of Fengju, Hyunwoo had broken down so much under pressure that he finally went to a psychologist. therapist. There, he poured out his heart that the home which once gave peace had now become a prison, and living with such a huge family was suffocating him. On top of that, his career was tied to the family business, and things weren't going well with his wife either. So now he had just one intention: to get a divorce and escape this chaebol family. The psychologist listens to him and thinks, I'm so lucky. Later, Hyunwoo goes to his village to meet his parents and tells them that after thinking carefully, he has made the decision to get divorced. At night when he returns, he takes the already written divorce agreement and goes to Haran. But before he can say anything, Haran says she has cancer, only 3 months left. The ground slips from under Hyunwoo's feet. He immediately hugs Haran. A day earlier, Haran had found out that she had a rare tumor in her brain. Because of this illness, she kept losing her memory, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours. That's why she used to miss important meetings with her husband and couldn't explain them later. When the doctor told her she only had 3 months, she went into shock. The tumor had spread everywhere like fog. It wasn't possible to completely remove it. After coming home, Haran told Hyunwoo everything. As soon as he heard it, he immediately hid the divorce papers and kept crying while hugging her. He said, "If you go, how will I survive?" On the outside, Haran complained how unfair God was. She never ate junk food, exercised daily, took such good care of her health, and yet she got such a terrible disease. Whereas the people who smoke and drink every day, nothing happens to them. Hyunwoo tells her, "Let's get one more checkup done. Don't think about anything right now. Just sleep peacefully." That night, for the first time, Hyunwoo felt a little peace, and while humming a soft tune, he went to Haran's room. But he saw the girl who never slept late hadn't woken up yet. Scared, he slowly stepped forward, and the opening scene appears again. Haran says, "Your skin looks so fresh. Looks like you had a great sleep last night," while she herself hadn't slept at all. They head out for the hospital. On the way, Haran says, "Don't tell the family anything about this illness," because she knows that if they find out, they'll immediately start fighting over her property. And she wants that even after her death, there should be no such greed-filled situation. They do another test at the hospital, and the result remains the same. Outside the hospital, Haran sees a girl sitting in a wheelchair who looks very distressed. Haran sees her own future, but encourages herself. These days, medicine is quite advanced. Just then, they run into her mother, the same mother who always gave more importance to her son than her daughter. At this moment, the mother is angry that something about her son has reached grandfather. She thinks that Haran or her husband must have complained to grandfather, and because of that, grandfather found out that Haran's brother had made an extra payment of several thousand crores in company tax. Her brother even had a panic attack due to the stress. When the topic of modifying the will comes up, Hyunwoo says he's not that kind of person, but still he agrees to his friend's useless idea. Even when his wife just has a slight cough, he immediately asks his assistant to call an ambulance. After work, he takes off his coat and puts it on her shoulders, and puts her cold hands in his pockets. When they get into the car, he carefully protects her head. Seeing all this, Haran directly says, "You've changed a lot lately." She's surprised to see so much overcare. For 3 years after marriage, he never even brought her a single flower, and now he's talking about celebrating their anniversary? Earlier, they used to sit far apart at the breakfast table, and now he sits close and takes care of her. At dinner, when her mother, who always discriminated between son and daughter, threatens Haran with a legal notice, Haran angrily asks why her mother has changed so much. Earlier, her mother herself gifted the land for building construction, and now she's refusing to acknowledge it. Then, for the first time, Hyunwoo interrupts his mother-in-law and says, if they file a lawsuit, we'll reply legally too. He also mentions media and stock impact and says that grandfather must be informed beforehand. Then he uses Haran's health as an excuse and takes her away from dinner. On the way, Haran says, "You've become the most confusing person. It feels like before, like you're drifting away from me again." In this confusion, Hyunwoo goes to his friend. He says, "We were never close even after 3 years of marriage, and now suddenly I've become so caring. I don't even understand myself." The friend explains, "Before marriage, you two were deeply in love. Even if the relationship got cold after marriage, sometimes old feelings return. It's normal." The next morning, Haran's aunt comes to Hyunwoo. She needed help. Her ex-husband was now marrying his mistress, and in anger, she had caused a scene at the wedding. Now the legal mess needed to be cleaned, so they called lawyer Hyunwoo. After returning home, the aunt again fought with grandfather Ikuro. She believed that grandfather's girlfriend was the one who killed her mother. In another scene, Hyunwoo risks his life for Haran. He saves her, and that moment truly feels heroic. A few days ago, Hyunwoo had done research on miraculous survival cases after brain tumors. He found that some cases had defied medical science. While researching, he fell asleep, and when Haran returned, she saw all this on his computer screen. She misunderstood. She thought her husband loved her so much that he was searching for a miracle. The next day, Haran attends a business event. Her goal is to bring in a brand called Tina. There she meets her competitor, who taunts her. "Your husband didn't come?" This brand only invests in businesses where husband and wife have perfect harmony. Haran doesn't get angry. She takes it as a reminder. She immediately calls Hyunwoo, but at that time, Hyunwoo is in a court hearing, and even when he comes out, her competitor sarcastically meets him. He mentions that student Yin Sheng actually liked Haran, and he's the right-hand man of Kina's chairman. Now Haran makes a plan to go to him. Haran meets Yin Sheng, and without any small talk, directly makes her request. But Yin Sheng's reaction is rather cold, as if he doesn't want to help. Haran then texts her husband, but when she doesn't get a reply, she's forced to face the president herself and handle the meeting alone. It was risky, but her courage and professionalism left a That's why she starts going toward him. But just then, a man bumps into her and she starts to fall. But at the right time, Hyunwoo comes there and saves her, leaving Haran surprised. Later, both of them meet Chairman together, and they leave quite a good impression on Chairman. Sometime later, Yin Sheng himself comes to meet Hyunwoo, casually mentioning that one of their students, Chi Yin, likes Haran. Hyunwoo stays silent on the matter, but when he goes to the washroom, he lets out his emotions alone. Upon returning, he sees Haran and Yin Sheng close to each other, and a strange jealousy rises in his heart. Even though he had been thinking about divorce before, when he saw his wife with someone else, it ignited a burning feeling inside. Yin Sheng, after all, was a connection made by his mother, who wanted Haran to invite him to their family's annual hunting trip. Haran didn't like it, but agreed because her mother insisted. On the day of the hunting trip, Haran told Hyunwoo, "Grandpa does this every year to test everyone's capabilities. That's why I give my all every year." And she ran so fast that Hyunwoo was left behind. In the middle of the path, Hyunwoo runs into Yin Sheng, who says in a sarcastic tone, "It's my first time here. Maybe that's why I mistakenly entered your area." Meanwhile, Haran suddenly feels sick, and just then, a wild boar comes charging toward her at full speed. Her entire life flashes before her eyes. But 1 second before impact, Hyunwoo arrives and saves her. In reality, the wild boar hadn't come there by accident. Someone had sent it as part of a plan. When the boar gets shot and falls in that moment, Haran's heart sees Hyunwoo as a real hero. Hearing the gunshot, Yin Sheng arrives and asks, "Are you hurt?" But Hyunwoo interrupts. "She's in shock. We'll leave now." And without any delay, he takes his wife and walks away. He tells Yin Sheng, "Please handle the rest." While going back, he sees that Haran's leg is injured. Hyunwoo picks her up in his arms and brings her home. Watching that scene, the aunt is left in shock, because in the past 3 years of marriage, such bonding had never been seen between the two. At that moment, Madame Wu says, "Grandpa shouldn't have gone out today." The priest had warned there could be misfortune. The way she said it made it seem like there was a conspiracy behind everything. When the mother hears this, she's caught between belief and doubt. Just then, Haran's brother comes running and says, "Sister is hurt." The mother rushes over immediately, but thankfully Haran is okay. The father and aunt both praise Hyunwoo. "It's good you were there." But the brother says, "Brother-in-law can't even kill a bird. This must have been a lucky shot." The mother agrees. "Yes, just luck." Hearing this, Haran can't tolerate it. She explains to everyone that Hyunwoo was once a special forces officer and has won several shooting competitions. That night, Hyunwoo secretly goes back to the jungle, to the place where the incident happened. He sees that the fencing wire was cut and lots of corn was scattered near the exit. It all looked deliberate. When he returns, he tells everything to Grandpa. Grandpa decides that he will personally check all the CCTV footage. Then at dinner, Grandpa insists that Yin Sheng must taste the UG because he himself had caught it, but the aunt doesn't compliment it, showing no hesitation in rejecting it in front of everyone. Grandpa just stays silent with a forced smile. The father-in-law expresses gratitude for his son-in-law and serves more food onto Hyunwoo's plate with his own hands. Seeing all this, Hyunwoo feels strange, as if someone was finally being kind to him for the first time. After dinner, Hyunwoo sits in the living room for a long time. He doesn't feel like returning to his room. Just then, his brother-in-law passes by and looks at him. To avoid that gaze, Hyunwoo gathers courage and slowly walks toward his room, like someone sneaking around. When Haran asks why he was so late, Hyunwoo mentions her brother. Then gently he says to Haran, "Take care of yourself, don't get angry so often." Hesitantly, he begins unbuttoning his shirt, feeling a bit tense and a little excited too. At that moment, Haran starts recalling the day's events, her heart silently thinking about Hyunwoo's bravery and charm. She remembers the first day she had visited Hyunwoo's village home. Back then, Hyunwoo had said their family was respected in the village and his mother ran a small shop. He had pulled out an ice pop and given it to Haran. When Haran said this was her first time trying one, Hyunwoo assumed her family was poor. He also commented on Haran's clothes, saying she always wore old clothes. Haran had explained it was European fashion, but Hyunwoo had interrupted her. He even said her outfit looked like his grandma's dress. Then he proudly shared that he saves 200,000 won every month, not knowing that Haran's daily expenses were more than that. Just then, Hyunwoo came out of the bathroom, and Haran snapped out of her thoughts and returned to reality. The priest had warned, seeing her husband shirtless after such a long time, she went silent for a moment and hid in the bathroom out of shyness. Then Hyunwoo returned and said, "I'll clean the floor. I know you don't like wet floors." That night, both of them slept in the same bed. For the first time after 3 years of sleeping separately, both were so awkward and shy that the bed felt too small, despite being big. Haran recalled old memories. When she had first visited Hyunwoo's home, he gave her his room, but then used the excuse of watching the moon to come back, and both ended up sleeping cuddled together in a single bed. Seeing Hyunwoo's condition, Haran had said, "I was just joking." The next morning, Haran receives a call from Yin Sheng. He said he could arrange a meeting with the chairman of Haile Chi-na. Haran feels happy, but just then she receives another message from the hospital. The doctor confirms that there's no cure for her brain cancer. Feeling a little broken, Haran goes to her secret room, where all her expensive jewelry, clothes, and designer bags are kept. Her heart fills up. How can I separate from all this? My life can't end yet. Then she goes to another place, where her priceless collections are kept. She touches everything with love, connecting deeply with each item. But the one thing she was most emotionally attached to was her husband. No matter how many fights they had, Haran loved him from the heart. Whenever Hyunwoo appeared before her, his face, his smile, everything about him became irresistible to Haran. Every time she wanted him to look at her just a little longer. Her behavior behavior started feeling strange to her. So she went to the doctor and asked from a friend's perspective, in a marriage that's 3 years old, can a woman start falling in love with her husband again? Then she described her symptoms, like feeling sad when seeing a stray cat, bringing an umbrella for someone getting soaked in the rain, tearing up when seeing a sick child. Heron said, I was never like this before. I don't know why now I feel everyone's pain. And the strangest thing, when I see my husband, my heart starts beating again. The doctor calmly explains that when a person faces death, their emotions and behavior begin to change. It's a psychological shift, but Heron doesn't believe this. In her heart, there's always a hope that maybe a miracle will happen to her. Meanwhile, the father-in-law takes Hyunwoo to the elder brother's house because he was seen near the forest in the CCTV footage, the same area where Heron was attacked by the wild boar. Everyone suspects he might be involved, but the elder brother says he only went to apologize to Grandpa. But Grandpa's girlfriend, Madame Mo, didn't let him meet him. He claims he had no other intention of coming to the forest. The father-in-law becomes a bit confused, so he goes to Madame Mu. But Madame Mu says something else entirely. She suspects the elder brother, and even warns that one should be cautious around him. At the same time, Hyunwoo's younger brother and elder sister go to meet Heron. They want to talk her out of the divorce, but Heron is in a hurry for an important meeting. The elder sister says she'll message her instead. Just as she sends the text, Hyunwoo calls. The elder sister tells him that Hyunwoo has dropped the divorce idea and never even told Heron. And never. That's when she realizes she's made a big mistake. Now Hyunwoo has only one mission, to somehow delete that message before Heron reads it. Just then, Yin Sheng uses the chairman's name to call Heron for a meeting. When Hyunwoo calls, Yin Sheng deliberately cuts the call and even switches off the phone. In the meeting, Yin Sheng repeatedly criticizes Hyunwoo through his words, but Heron calmly says, Hyunwoo is the best. He can save my life. Love is not just about sweet words, it's about walking together. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo waits anxiously for Heron outside their home. When Heron returns, slightly drunk, Hyunwoo yells at Yin Sheng for giving her so much to drink. But Yin Sheng, with a cunning smile, continues playing his game. Hyunwoo keeps an eye on his bag. He wants to retrieve his wife's phone. Hyunwoo asks, why was your phone off? Heron, due to her memory issues, had forgotten and says maybe she left it in the car. Just as Hyunwoo starts to call the driver, Heron pulls out the phone from her coat. As soon as the phone switches on, dozens of unread messages appear. Seeing that, Hyunwoo is shocked and immediately rushes forward. Heron calmly says, from now on, I'll only do what my heart wants. This scene becomes the most beautiful and emotional moment of the drama. Hyunwoo's love now becomes openly visible. He brings snacks for Heron late at night, and when he sees her wearing heels in the elevator, he shouts, careful, careful. When people say, some crazy guy shouted, Heron smiles. Then Hyunwoo buys those heels immediately with full payment, saying, today's the last day of the sale and size 24 isn't even available, and white color is globally out of stock. He softly adds, you already have many beautiful, expensive shoes, but they're not comfortable. These heels feel as light as cotton. I'm scared you might fall. Heron takes off her designer shoes and wears the ones her husband bought, and Hyunwoo's joy shines on his face. After that kiss, he was completely blooming again. That very night, Hyunwoo's mission is to delete the wrong message from Heron's phone. He quietly follows her, and when Heron goes to shower, he sneaks into her room. He tries every password, birthday, wedding anniversary, even the company listing date. Then a thought strikes, 1031. When he enters it, the phone unlocks. He quickly deletes the message, and just then, Heron comes out. Hyunwoo awkwardly says, I couldn't sleep, so I came to your room. Heron, in her style, says, I knew it. You can't sleep without me. Heron still loved him from the heart, which is why she said, can we sit and talk for a while? But Hyunwoo used work as an excuse. I have to wake up early, and immediately left. Heron quietly wondered, was all this really for me? Hyunwoo returned to his room, but his mind was stuck on one thing, 1031, because that was the expected due date of their first child. When they were newly married, they were so excited about their first child. The baby room had been lovingly decorated, but for no reason, the baby couldn't come into the world. It ended in miscarriage. Heron had made 1031 her phone password in memory of that unborn baby, and that very thing had created distance in their relationship for 3 years. Until Hyunwoo found out about Heron's illness, nothing had changed. The next morning, Heron lovingly says, don't forget to take orange juice, and if you feel hungry, please eat something. Hyunwoo, who usually got jealous of others being cared for, now felt concern himself for Heron. When Heron removes lint from his clothes, he gets lost in the moment, his heart tangled in little things, his lips forming a slight pout. When Heron dresses up nicely, Hyunwoo is mesmerized seeing her. And when Heron says, you look very handsome today, Hyunwoo smiles like a child out of happiness. When Heron is happy, her happiness reflects on Hyunwoo's face too. But when Yin Sheng plays with Heron's hair in front of him, Hyunwoo's irritation increases. He just wants to scream, stay away from her. Later, Heron goes to meet the chairman wearing those white shoes, the ones Hyunwoo had bought for her. Yin Sheng suggests she should wear his brand's shoes, saying, that's what boyfriends are for, to give gifts. Then he adds, it's better to wear the company's shoes in front of the chairman. But Heron says, I already wore your brand's outfit, but your shoes are uncomfortable. And she attends the meeting wearing the shoes her husband gave her. After the meeting, using her own strengths, Heron successfully secures the High Lake Sheena deal. And then comes the most heartbreaking scene of Queen of Tears. When Heron forgets the way home due to her memory loss, Hyunwoo searches the entire city from morning till night to find her. When he finally does, he takes out a snack pack from his pocket and says, "If it had gotten cold, you wouldn't have liked it, so I rushed over." Then Haran shows him a medical report. It says her treatment has a 51% success rate. Hearing this, Hyunwoo panics and runs. His mind stuck only on one thing, 51%. If Haran gets better, will everything go back to how it was? Will the whole family start liking her again? Will Haran return to being the same rude and dominant person? Will I be stuck again between rituals, traditions, and pressure? Thinking this, he starts thinking about divorce again. But then his mind stops him. If Haran finds out, will she shoot me? The next day, Yin Sheng meets Haran for work. Seeing them together again, Hyunwoo becomes jealous. When Haran is making coffee in the kitchen, Hyunwoo walks in and asks, "He touched your hair and you didn't feel anything. When I used to do that, you'd get angry. Can't you treat me just as fairly?" Haran says nothing, but secretly smiles, because she knew Hyunwoo was getting jealous. Hyunwoo keeps watching them the whole time, but when Yin Sheng drops the curtain, he hides outside and starts listening in. Meanwhile, the matchmaker meets Haran's mother again. The matchmaker shows photos with many of Yin Sheng's international billionaire clients, praising him and saying he's the best business partner for Haran's brother. At the same time, she says things that clearly create distance between Haran and Yin Sheng. On the surface, the matchmaker pretends to be advising Haran's mother, but in reality, she's on Yin Sheng's side. That very night, Haran's mother comes to meet her. She believes Haran said something to Yin Sheng, which is why he refused to invest in her land project. Haran repeatedly says, "I didn't say anything," but her mother refuses to believe her. Hearing so many accusations from her own mother, Haran is so hurt she nearly faints. Thankfully, Hyunwoo was there in time and caught her. Hyunwoo immediately interrupted the mother and took Haran away to rest. The next morning, Haran receives an update. Her father-in-law is running for village chief, but his opponent is attracting villagers by throwing parties. So Haran decides to do something big for her father-in-law. She makes a grand entrance into the village. The entire village cheers. She loudly says, "Mom, Dad," in front of everyone. She treats all the villagers and gives small gifts. Because of her presence and support, the father-in-law receives overwhelming votes and officially becomes village chief. Hyunwoo still had no idea Haran went to the village. When his mother tells him, Hyunwoo immediately calls her back. At that moment, Haran sees an MP3 player in Hyunwoo's drawer. It looks very familiar, but she can't recall. In reality, Haran and Hyunwoo had met back in college, when Hyunwoo had transferred to a new school. The same day Haran was leaving for foreign studies. That day, Haran had fallen at the school gate, and Hyunwoo had put a band-aid on her wound. She had forgotten her MP3 player there, and since then, Hyunwoo had kept it safe. Now in the village, Hyunwoo wants to walk while listening to music on that MP3 player, but suddenly it slips from his hand. Just then, Haran bends down to pick it up, but sees that her clothes are covered in mud. Confused, she asks, "How did I come here? Where am I? Where is my home?" Her mind goes blank. She helplessly sits on the road. At that moment, Hyunwoo, who had returned to the village, searches for Haran. He only finds the MP3, not Haran. He searches for her all day. For the first time, the village feels so huge. When night falls, he finally catches a glimpse of Haran, but she's with Zama. Seeing this, Hyunwoo's blood boils. He's about to turn back when suddenly the street light switches on, and Haran clearly sees him. Her clothes are drenched in sweat. Haran says, "How are you here? Weren't you outside the gate?" Then she says to herself, "When I came to my senses, I was in an unknown place. I couldn't remember anything. I was scared." And in that moment, those who had once grown distant came close once again. A few days ago, Haran had seen Hyunwoo's entire family out searching for her in the rain. That moment deeply moved her. When she returned, Hyunwoo gently dried her hair and tenderly treated her cuts and bruises. Haran held his hands and looked at them. "Is this my lifeline? It's so short, so heartbreaking." Hyunwoo softly says, "Astrology is false. We've contacted the..." That night, when Haran returns to her room alone, she wonders, since when have we been sleeping separately? After the miscarriage, Haran drowned herself in work to suppress the pain in her heart. She cleared the nursery, dying to free herself from guilt and memories. But deep inside, she had buried all her pain in her heart, without saying a word, without telling anyone. Hyunwoo thought maybe Haran didn't even love children. After that misunderstanding, he started staying in the baby room. The next morning, Hyunwoo had slept outside after drinking and hadn't returned until morning. He didn't know that Haran had waited for him the entire night without sleeping. On the way back, the mother-in-law was about to hand over some vegetables she had grown herself to an assistant, but then Haran stepped forward and took them herself. On the way home, Haran was still upset because Hyunwoo hadn't returned all night. She fell asleep in the car, and Hyunwoo remembered her old words. He picked up a pen and quietly extended the line of Haran's palm, her lifeline. When they reached the front of the house, stubborn Haran was again justifying her actions, but her soft corner showed when she saw Hyunwoo's umbrella tilted toward her, his own body getting soaked in the rain. Seeing that, her heart melted. Haran started walking fast, and Hyunwoo followed her with the umbrella. But then suddenly, Yin Sheng appeared, like a hero rescuing a heroine, and supported Haran. Hyunwoo stood behind, alone, heartbroken. In the kitchen, meanwhile, a terrible fight breaks out between the aunt and Madame Mao. Madame Mao first breaks the CCTV camera and then shows her true face. Dropping her sweet stepmother act, she beats the aunt harshly. Later, both go to Grandpa to complain. Madame Mao admits she hit first, but the aunt, whom everyone considers tough, stays silent. Her soft reaction confuses Grandpa, and he believes Madame Mao's side, thinking maybe the aunt was at fault. The aunt decides she will secretly find out Madame Mao's true face. A little later, Haran gets a call from Yin Sheng, saying the chairman of Hailekina will arrive in 5 minutes for a site visit. Haran Haran quickly prepares to leave, but then she suffers another episode due to her illness. She nearly collapses when Yin Sheng catches her. From her body's weakness, Yin Sheng senses something is wrong. He takes her to the elevator, and just then, Hyunwoo sees the scene. Worried, he asks, "What happened? Where does it hurt?" But Haran coldly ignores him. As soon as Hyunwoo walks away, Haran quickly says to Yin Sheng, "Let go of my hand." Then after finishing work, Haran goes to the hospital. The doctor says, "Your white blood cell count is too low. Surgery would be dangerous now." But Haran replies, "I don't have time. I can't stop." The doctor advises her to rest, but Haran insists, "I'm fine." At that moment, the aunt standing in a corner overhears the conversation about the brain tumor and is left stunned. She can't believe what she's hearing. But then she gently explains to Haran, "Medicine has advanced a lot. Everything can be okay." She gives an example of a friend who had the same problem but recovered. Haran tells her, "I'm going to Germany for treatment." The aunt is shocked, but Haran calmly says, "I know it's not a big deal, but you're surprised, right?" Later, the aunt calls that same friend, but the number is disconnected. When another friend tells her that the woman had actually died, the aunt breaks down crying. She thought her friend had recovered, but the illness had taken her. Now her worry for Haran increases even more. The aunt says, "I'll go with you to the hospital," but Haran insists she can handle it alone. Still, the aunt stands far away crying, waiting for Hyunwoo to return. When Hyunwoo comes back, the aunt scolds him. "Why didn't you go with her? This isn't a small illness anymore." Hearing this, Hyunwoo is filled with guilt. He didn't know that. Before going to the hospital, Haran had slowed her pace, just in the hope that maybe he would come with her. There was a hidden hope in Haran's heart that when she reached the plane, maybe Hyunwoo would come running and call out to her. When she stood at the boarding gate, her eyes kept looking back, just hoping he'd come. Even when she sat in her flight seat, she kept wishing she'd get a phone call from him. But when no call came, even till the end, Haran finally turned off her phone, carrying a hidden pain in her heart. And then Hyunwoo finally made the call. The past cannot be changed. That night, Hyunwoo is watching old interviews where he finally realizes in all of Haran's future plans, his name was always there. He listens to that line again and again, and tears won't stop flowing from his eyes. The next morning, leaving everything behind, Hyunwoo grabs his suitcase and heads straight to the airport. At the same time, Haran is getting a checkup in some foreign hospital. The doctors say her condition is slightly improved, but for now they'll just observe and the next steps will be decided later. Haran's face looks lifeless and dull. She doesn't know where to go in this unfamiliar country. Just then, a familiar face holds her hand. It's Hyunwoo. He removes her uncomfortable shoes and puts new soft shoes on her. He says, "I won't let you cry. Just trust me." But then with tears in his own eyes, he says, "But I cried so many times after our marriage." While driving, inside the shower, in the corner of the car wash, in every room, even before sleeping, Haran lightly jokes, "When I die, just bring a few new luxury handbags or sit somewhere nice with red wine and remember me. I never liked rituals anyway." Hyunwoo gently explains, "No, Haran, please believe in medical miracles." Haran then says, "If you must cry, cry in front of everyone, not secretly. I'd like it if you were sad for me, but I don't want you to fall apart. It would be too unfair if you remembered me forever. It's okay if you forget me too." And on her lips, there's a bitter-sweet smile. Then Haran reveals something big. "Before marriage, my mom forced me to write a will, in which I left nothing for you. But now, I want to change that will." Hyunwoo's eyes fill up, but he gently says, "Change the will, but only after you recover." That night, Haran says, "Seems like I really got lucky with my husband." She tells how after her friend's death, her friend's husband was laughing inside the bathroom because she had already changed the will before dying. At that moment, Hyunwoo is reminded of his own guilt. Even he once thought about money, and now he feels ashamed of himself. At that time, he has only one wish. "Haran, please stay alive." That night, while Haran is asleep, Hyunwoo quietly reaches out to hold her hand. But what he didn't expect was that Haran held his hand even tighter. The next morning, Hyunwoo goes to church to pray that God will save Haran. Then he meets the hospital professor. The professor says, "Despite Haran's research funding, we never started actual treatment. It was unethical." But now the professor wants to try a therapy, injection-based treatment to boost her white blood cells. Hyunwoo takes Haran back to the hospital. After the tests, Haran seems a little low. She says, "Everyone becomes slim when they fall ill, but I'm gaining weight." A nurse takes her for the injection, but on the way, she sees a little boy and starts running after him. Hyunwoo notices that Haran is gone. He panics and searches the streets for her. When he sees an accident victim, his heart drops in fear, thinking something happened to Haran. Then he finds Haran, crying in shock. She says, "I saw my dead brother. When we were little and went to the sea, something happened, and my brother drowned while trying to save me. My mother always blamed me for his death, and since then, she kept ignoring me." And then Haran sees the divorce agreement in Hyunwoo's hands. Her face goes blank. "You just confessed your love, and you were secretly planning to leave me?" There's a hope in her eyes that maybe Hyunwoo will say something else, something different. This can't be true, Haran thinks. But the truth was exactly that: cold, cruel, and heartbreaking. She walks alone on a long road in an unfamiliar country. Her mind echoes with every moment she shared with her husband Hyunwoo, his every little gesture of love, every worry. But now everything feels like a lie, one big fake story. A speeding car rushes toward her, but she isn't afraid. Inside her, a silent desire to die had awakened. Maybe in that moment she had decided to end it all. But suddenly, Hyunwoo appears in front of her and saves her. Hyunwoo says, "Don't gamble with your life like that, Haran." Back home, he calmly explains everything to her, but Haran only says, "Next time, don't save me." She doesn't even want to look at him. Her trust is broken. And then, without a word, she walks away from him. The next morning, Haran's condition condition worsens. The treatment isn't giving the expected results. Hyunwoo realizes he has to do something. He deliberately wakes Haran up in a harsh way, a shock therapy strategy. "You were absolutely right," he says. "Honestly, when you said you'd die in 3 months, that's when I realized I had to live. If I wait just 3 more months, we can separate perfectly, but now you've held on to me. I can't even die." "But you're doing nothing, Haran. You've given up on everything. You've even stopped thanking me. Do you want me to ask for a divorce? Do you really want me to go? Should I now leave everything and go back to Korea? Or should I just pretend, according to your secret plan? Do you want me to get that old wedding certificate repaired?" There's tension in his word, but also a hope that Haran will find the will to live again, because he wants Haran to return in queen mode. He wants to see that fierce, victorious Haran again, the one who could fight in court just to win, not for the victory, but for survival. Later, during the family meeting where everyone is planning against Hyunwoo, Haran says, "Let me handle everything." She says in a bold tone, "I know exactly what legal options to use and what compensations to file." Her tone sounds hard, but in truth, she's protecting Hyunwoo in front of everyone. Now Haran's breakfast isn't just plain congee. She starts eating high-protein steak. She wears limited edition jewelry, walks into the office in a red designer outfit, dazzling everyone. Everyone in the company knows. When the queen is angry, she looks even more glamorous. Her first move is to clear out Hyunwoo's entire office. She returns all files from the legal team. His workload suddenly increases 100-fold, but Hyunwoo doesn't get angry. He feels Haran's spirit has returned. Then Haran's secretary comes and says, "Whenever I see Hyunwoo, he's calling someone named Youngsu on the rooftop garden." Hearing that name, Haran doesn't get shocked. Instead, she gets emotional because 3 years ago, Haran jokingly told Hyunwoo, "There's an animal here named Youngsu. He only comes when I'm in a good mood." And Hyunwoo took that joke so seriously for 3 years, always calling for him. Meanwhile, Haran's father starts investigating Hyunwoo's background, sees that he always goes everywhere alone. His most frequent companion is a stray cat sitting on the road. When they check his phone album, they only find one thing: Haran's photos and that cat. At the same time, Youngsu and Madame Moo finally reveal their true faces. They are mother and daughter. Both are secretly planning to take over Queen Group, and Tixi is also part of their team. The wild boar attack on Haran, Tixi was behind that too. The life of a chaebol heiress was now trapped between politics, betrayal, and a deadly conspiracy. Every time Haran would quietly book the entire venue just to spend time with Hyunwoo, but Hyunwoo never knew about any of it. He always thought maybe it was just fate creating alone time for them. This time, they visited an aquarium. When Hyunwoo thought the background music wasn't romantic enough, Haran made a subtle signal toward the camera, and suddenly a romantic melody began playing. In that perfect moment, Hyunwoo took out an engagement ring, and Haran happily said yes, but fate twisted again. Haran, who had forgotten all about divorce, hugged Hyunwoo, and in that moment, Hyunwoo couldn't lie anymore. He confessed everything. Haran reminded herself and remembered everything. The next morning, Haran called in an internationally top divorce lawyer. As soon as they sat down, the lawyer said, "Haran is a queen who grew up with a golden spoon. Her image must be protected." So the media statement would say, "They separated due to work commitments, but still remain friends." Hyunwoo simply said, "I don't mind." Anyway, the statement doesn't sound true. That evening, Haran watched the sunset. It brought back memories of all the past moments. It was the same sunset, but today she didn't have that one special person beside her. At night, she visited all the places Hyunwoo used to go. Every place was full of couples. Only Haran was alone. Her heart was telling her, "I can feel his pain." Then she went to a small valley where Hyunwoo often went. Coincidentally, Hyunwoo was also there. Haran quietly hid in a corner. That's when she heard Hyunwoo's heart. She heard how he changed his habits, how he gave up his freedom, all for her. He said, "Life is peaceful, but I still want to live it with Haran." After Hyunwoo left, Haran couldn't hold back anymore. The next morning at the office, she saw Grandpa's men bullying Hyunwoo. Haran immediately intervened. She said to Hyunwoo, "If we're really separated, then you shouldn't have to endure this insult here." But Hyunwoo was there for a reason. He and Aunt had uncovered the truth about Madame Moo and Yin Sheng. Madame Moo's real name was Woo Sun Rong, officially declared dead. Hyunwoo called Grandpa, "Sir, her real name is Woo Sun Rong, and Yin Sheng is 99% confirmed to be her son." The 9.6% of funds under Queen Group's name had been transferred to Yin Sheng through a contract-based move. Hyunwoo said, "Grandpa, please withdraw the contract." Grandpa replied, "I understand. I'll call again." But it was already too late. Grandpa suddenly had a stroke. Madame Moo had laced his medication with slow poison, which gradually caused paralysis. Grandpa was sent to the ICU, but as the legal guardian, only Madame Moo was allowed entry. Family members couldn't go inside, and on that very day, everything flipped in Queen Group. Yin Sheng came into power. The Hong family was left with nothing. Tixi, who had already been on their side, fled to a foreign country with her son. Hyunwoo took the Hong family back to the village, but his family didn't know anything. Everything had been stolen from them. Even now, they were blaming the Hong family, and Hyunwoo could only say, I'm here. I'm with you." Car, credit cards, villa, every asset of the Hong family was now under Madame Moo's control. At that moment, the media was waiting outside the house, hoping the Hong family would get publicly humiliated, but then Hyunwoo arrived on time, just like a savior, like a white moonlight. He quietly took the Hong family away from the media. Now they had no place to go. So everyone went to Hyunwoo's village, his ancestral home. It was all new for Hong Mom. She wasn't used to the village environment, and on her first step, she stepped into cow dung. She almost fainted, but Hyunwoo's mom helped her. But Hong Mom couldn't tolerate her 500,000 one-branded heels getting ruined. even if their status had collapsed, her standards were still high. She left those expensive heels behind and reluctantly wore Hyunwoo's sister's shoes. At dinner, Hyunwoo's mom warmly welcomed the Hong family, but Haren's brother was irritated about everything. He didn't like the village food. Then he said, "I'm thirsty." Instantly, a glass of freshly boiled warm water was served, but the brother replied, "I don't drink anything except sealed water." Everyone was shocked. Then Hyunwoo's mom went to the market and brought bottled water, but the brother's demands kept increasing. He said, "I only want imported mineral water from 284 Mountain. How could that be found in a village?" Then Haren's dad stepped in to calm things down. "It's not that we're too particular. Germany or Australia water works too." Hyunwoo's mom was left speechless. Haren slapped her brother hard. Everyone was shocked. They had never seen Haren so fierce. Hyunwoo quickly stepped in to ease the tension. "Please don't think I always get beaten at home." That night, when everyone was washing dishes, Haren quietly helped, carrying the dishes inside. Some people made a few harsh comments, but Haren ignored them. She openly admitted, "Yes, our situation is bad now, but one day we'll rise again." In the bathroom, her brother complained again, "There's no bathtub here, even the towels are old." At bedtime, Hong mom looked around the room and said, "This feels like hell." Then Hong dad said, "There are no heaters or comforters in hell, right? For now, it's a small space, but it's safe." During this, Hyunwoo quietly took care of Haren. Before leaving for work in the morning, he quietly came to her. He checked if she was cold, gently adjusted her blanket, closed the window, pulled the curtains, and checked her temperature. Only after making sure everything was fine, he left. When Haren woke up, she saw her mother-in-law working in the kitchen. She was impressed by her knife skills. She genuinely complimented her. Seeing this, Haren's mom felt awkward and quietly left. Then came a twist. A man finds out that his son isn't actually his biological child. His wife's entire background was fake. No royal education, no family. It was all made up to enter a Chaebol family. Then Haren saw her brother sitting alone under a tree, crying. Haren gently asked, "What happened?" Her brother said, "I'm not crying because my wife betrayed me. I'm crying because she ran away and didn't even take me with her." Haren was left speechless hearing that. Her brother added, "She once said Haren's brother loved his wife the most. He used to say, 'She was my most precious thing, but she left me.'" Haren gently consoles him. Her brother, tangled in love, was still fighting with his emotions. Meanwhile, Haren's dad on the other side is trying to borrow money from his friends, but no one answers his calls. Just then, Hyunwoo's cousin Kyungja returns from work. The three of them sit under the same roof. Dad asks, "Do you work on weekends too?" Kyungja says, "The land and grass don't know weekends. Grass grows on Saturdays too." His positive attitude inspires everyone, even after work. His love for life makes Haren's dad feel a little jealous for a moment. That night, Haren meets her nephew outside, a smart little boy who says, "I've kept your secret safe from the whole village." Not a word went to the media. As soon as the little boy walks away, Haren suddenly faints. When she regains consciousness, she sees the whole family around her. Her mother-in-law heating water, her mother looking slightly jealous, and her aunt angrily asking, "Did she take her medicine on time?" Haren assures everyone, "It's nothing serious, just a bit of anemia." Her mother says, "Then there's nothing to worry about," but the mother-in-law insists, "Go to the hospital and get it checked." Her aunt's emotions overflow. She tells Haren's mom, "Please be a little kinder to her. You might regret it someday." The mom arrogantly replies, "I never regret anything." The aunt quietly sits at the gate and cries. Just then, Hyunwoo returns quickly. The aunt says, "I wish I had an ex-husband too." Hyunwoo says, "I've already fixed an appointment with the doctor. I'll take Haren tomorrow." Haren asks, "Did you find something new?" That's when Hyunwoo learns that Haren and Secretary Luo were already part of his team. Then he shares everything, including the proof of Yin Sheng's scam. Haren says, "I can't stay quiet anymore. I've already lost everything. No job, family collapsed, grandpa in the hospital, my brother is losing it, and after the divorce, my ex is still living with me. But it's my mess. I need to handle it myself." The next morning, they go to the hospital for another test. The professor calls Hyunwoo and warns, "Yin Sheng found out about your illness." When Haren returns from the hospital, she's shocked to see the entire family waiting for her. Her heart fills with emotion. The next day, Hyunwoo doesn't come home. He doesn't answer his phone. Haren feels uneasy. She walks to the village entrance and sees Yin Sheng holding Hyunwoo's phone. Haren panics. She fears something terrible has happened. She rushes to Hyunwoo and starts unbuttoning his shirt. Hyunwoo gets confused and he says, "Haren, stop." But Haren was stubborn. She pulls his shirt down and sees a large wound on his back. Her heart breaks. Hyunwoo immediately says, "I'm fine. The other guy got hit too. Look, it's nothing." Haren quietly applies medicine to him. Hyunwoo says proudly, "I learned boxing. There were 3 of them. I was alone. And they had weapons too. I still won." Haren says in a stern tone, "There's nothing cool about this. What's cooler than fighting 3 guys is running away." In that moment, love, guilt, care, all mixed together into a complete emotional storm. When Haren saw Yin Sheng standing nearby, a huge doubt arose in her heart, and her suspicion was right. At that time, Hyunwoo was in a dark alley being attacked in an assassination attempt, but he was calm, composed. Every punch he threw was timed perfectly. Because Hyunwoo had once been a boxing champion, he had the upper hand in the fight. He patiently exhausted his opponents, and when he saw they were drained, he finished it with a powerful punch. The police arrived at the site. Then, Yin Sheng threatens Haren. "If you don't return to work as the department store CEO, I'll tell your parents about your brain cancer." While all this is happening, Haren's brother arrives. In anger, he yells at Yin Sheng, "If it weren't for your tricks, our family wouldn't be in this condition." He asks about his wife too, but Yin Sheng ignores him and walks away. Back at his place, Yin Sheng immediately contacts Tixi. Cut all ties with Korea. Korea. Tixi gets emotional, but Yinsheng says only one thing: just hide overseas. Don't ask about me. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo returns home, tired, wounded. Haran is shocked to see his wounds, and the same opening scene repeats. The next morning, Haran's brother wants to tell her that Yinsheng came to the village last night, but he can't say it. Then, Haran lovingly gives Hyunwoo first aid, and when he leaves for the office, Haran watches him from afar, and Hyunwoo keeps glancing at her in the rearview mirror. Suddenly, Hyunwoo stops the car, and they both sit on a bench, enjoying a sweet, silent morning. They talk. Why were we so concerned for each other before the divorce, but never said it earlier? They feel, maybe if we had said it once, everything would have been different. At night, Hyunwoo comes to meet Haran. He says, I found out Yinsheng was here last night. Tell me, what did he say? Haran tells him everything. He said I should become CEO again and return home. But what I was worried about was that someone might sign false documents in your name. Just then, the mother-in-law secretly hears all this and is shocked to learn Haran has brain cancer. She tells her son, Hyunwoo, how could you divorce her when she's sick? For her, Haran was never just a daughter-in-law. She had always been like a daughter. Hyunwoo requests his mom, I'm going to the office. Please take care of Haran. That night, the mother quietly cries in a corner. In the morning, she cooks all of Haran's favorite dishes. She sits Haran down and serves the best food on her plate. When Haran is about to leave, the mother gives her a lift on the tractor just so she won't get tired. On the way, Haran thanks her. You've done so much for me all these days. The mother hides her tears again. Then Haran's mom goes to a cafe and out of habit pulls out her credit card, but she forgets that the card had been frozen. When she can't pay, Hyunwoo's mom quietly enters the cafe, pays the bill without saying a word. Later, Haran's mom goes to a fruit orchard where she works on the land for the first time. Even just putting a cover on a fruit becomes a struggle. She works hard, but is so exhausted her back won't even straighten. Everyone is watching her. A chaebol wife had now become an ordinary village woman. That day, for packing 4,000 fruit bags during field work, the payment was 300,000 Korean won. But Hong Mom could only do 70 pieces, and after deducting the cost of coffee, she was left with only 1,700 Korean won. At dinner that night, for the first time, she ate with real hunger. After finishing one bowl, she immediately asked for a second. And at night, without any sleeping pill, Hong Mom began snoring loudly like a bell. Hong Dad said emotionally, after so many days, I saw her sleep so peacefully without any medicine. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo tracked down the beauty salon matchmaker. He directly said, I know your salon runs an illegal nap time scam, and you profit from ruining people's marriages. Your criminal file could put you in jail for life. The matchmaker got scared and finally told the truth. Behind Grandpa's disappearance was Yinsheng's hand. After a fight between Madame Mu and Yinsheng had secretly transferred Grandpa somewhere. Madame Mu had requested the matchmaker, help me find Grandpa. On the other side, Haran was again forced under Yinsheng's pressure to return to Queen Department Store. As soon as Hyunwoo found out, he ran after her. That night, Hyunwoo sat under a tree counting leaves, wondering if Haran loved him or not. When the last leaf said no, he pulled another leaf from his pocket and started counting again until he got a yes. That's when a small smile appeared on his face. He didn't know Haran was secretly watching and listening to his confession. The next morning, Haran walked into Yinsheng's press conference. Yinsheng announced Haran will return as the CEO of Queen Group to kill off the rising media backlash against him. Haran stepped onto the stage. At first, she read the words Yinsheng had written on the teleprompter, but then came an emotional twist. Haran finally opened her heart and confessed everything in front of everyone so that Yinsheng couldn't exploit her illness. Haran publicly declared, I have cancer. Hyunwoo was sitting in the audience, his eyes filled with only pain and love. Their eyes met. Just as they were about to reach for each other, Haran's steps faltered. Her condition worsened. She walked into a field of flowers searching for Hyunwoo's face, and then she collapsed. As her eyes closed, there was only one face in her mind, Hyunwoo's. Every moment flashed before her eyes, his love, his desperate gaze, and she thought, I can't die. I still have so much left to say. Even though they were divorced, Haran had never hated Hyunwoo. When she heard Hyunwoo standing outside saying, I love you, her will to live came back. In an emergency, she was taken into the operating theater. Hyunwoo sat outside, praying, with tears streaming down. When this terrible news reached the family, everyone came rushing to the hospital. Seeing Haran on the bed broke everyone's heart. The doctor explained her condition, and when the word tumor was used, Haran's mother went into shock. She immediately looked at Hyunwoo. Why did you hide all this? Hyunwoo just remained silent. Haran's mom was still speaking when Hong Dad calmly interrupted her. His face was full of guilt. Even as a father, he had never noticed the signs of his daughter's cancer. He asked the doctor, please, tell us everything in detail. The doctor explained, Haran had a cloud cell tumor, a rare cloud-like illness that spreads through the body and is very difficult to treat. Haran's mom collapsed to the ground. Hong Dad drifted into old memories when Haran was little, her smile, the way she held his hand. Now it felt like everything was slipping from his hands. Aunt consoled her sister-in-law. She reminded her, I told you to treat Haran with love. Why regret it now? The mother cried and recalled, Haran once told me she had something important to say, but I said, you'll handle everything like always. When she collapsed in exhaustion, I said, you're overreacting. Remembering it all now, the mother completely broke down. At that moment, Hyunwoo sat beside Haran's bed, caring for her all night long. Just then, the brother entered the room, yelling in guilt. This is all my fault. I was the one who had that painting put up, thinking Haran would suppress her emotions. In anger, he tore the painting apart. And just then, Haran opened her eyes. Her brother shouted with joy, maybe this painting was lucky. Good thing I ripped it. Hyunwoo told him, Call the doctors and family. As soon as her brother left, he walked over to Haran, smiled, and said, I know everything. I've been wanting to tell you everything for a long time. I prayed for you every day like I've never prayed in my life. If you die, I'll sleep on the streets, drink, cry. I won't be able to do anything. Haran softly said, I used to think if I died, you'd never learn the truth of my heart. That's why I had to say it now. Just then, the whole family arrived at the hospital. Hong dad, with teary eyes, touched his daughter's head. Don't be afraid. I know foreign doctors. Everything will be fine. Haran said, Papa, I need your forgiveness. Dad's heart broke. You're sick. How can anyone expect you to ask for forgiveness? Then Haran remembered, where's Mom? Hyunwoo found her sitting at the end of the stairwell, secretly crying. Mom said, I wasn't a good mother. I never understood my daughter's pain. I always blamed her, even for her brother's death. I was the one who pushed her away. Maybe this pressure made her sick. Haran was listening to all this. She stepped forward and gently said, this illness just happens. No one can stop it. Please don't carry guilt. Hyunwoo quietly closed the door, giving mother and daughter a private moment. Mom asked, does it hurt a lot? Haran slowly nodded yes. Mom said, don't go. Give me one more chance. I want to stay with you as your mother. That evening, Secretary Luo also came to the hospital. He said it all in one line. I'm only Haran's secretary. I can't belong to anyone else. Please come back. By the afternoon, Haran's news had spread across all the news channels. They labeled her the century's pure love, a woman who stayed devoted to her ex-husband even after divorce. Hearing this gave Hyunwoo peace inside. Even if it was just gossip, for him it was the truth. Then Haran noticed someone was watching her. She felt like maybe they were feeling sympathy for her, so she acted out a deliberately sweet moment with Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo understood and looked at her with deep love in his eyes. Haran blushed a little. They looked like the perfect couple. Everyone around admired them. Just then, Yin Sheng arrived at the hospital. Haran had called him. She said, now with the pressure fund at stake, if a new chairman is elected, your shares won't be enough. Yin Sheng smugly asked, are you worried about me? Haran, with a calm smile, was just about to reply. Yin Sheng had always liked Haran, but Haran was never emotionally close to him. That's why he constantly came up with new ways to get closer to her. As Yin Sheng was leaving, he ran into Hyunwoo. Yin Sheng directly said, stay away from Haran. Whatever your condition is, I'm ready to give it. Hearing this, Hyunwoo's patience began to break. He wanted to punch him, but still held back his anger. Just then, Yin Sheng attacked him from behind, but he underestimated Hyunwoo. This time, Hyunwoo responded without mercy, giving a clear warning, Haran is my life. As long as I'm here, you won't even get close to her. On the other side, Tixi saw the news and worried, called Yin Sheng. Her concern was, Shucheol's panic disorder must have been triggered again. Even though their relationship had ended, she still cared about Yin Sheng. She requested, please send him his medication. At the same time, during one of her illness episodes, Haran failed to recognize Hyunwoo and accidentally left with Yin Sheng. To stop her, Hyunwoo crashed his car into a road barrier, just in the hope of reaching Haran. When Hyunwoo saw her going off with Yin Sheng, there was no jealousy in his eyes, only pain. The pain of seeing Haran's health worsen. Meanwhile, Aunt finally located Grandpa, but he was now suffering from dementia. He didn't even recognize his own daughter. As soon as she tried to take him back, Madame Mu shoved her away and took Grandpa back into her home. Then she invited photographers and company board members over just to show off, to make it seem like she was a perfect legal guardian. In front of the camera, she pretended to care for Grandpa, but her real intention was to build an image. She scolded the board. Last time's press conference dropped our stock prices. From now on, every one of Yin Sheng's proposals must go through me first. The board members wanted to say something, but no one had the courage. Then, Hyunwoo and Haran together found proof of Yin Sheng's dual contracts and resort scam. And one more important thing, Grandpa's hidden funds still hadn't been found. So Hyunwoo asked one of his lawyer friends to start tracing those funds. Because Haran had secretly retrieved the torn contract copy from Secretary Luo, within a few days, Haran was discharged from the hospital. The whole family took her out for a BBQ party. This time, Hong dad personally grilled just for his daughter. Brother Shuchol, filled with enthusiasm, grabbed the grill tongs from Hyunwoo's family. Everyone was chilling. Mother-in-law asked with concern, what should the white blood cell count be for treatment in Germany? Haran replied, between 4,000 to 10,000. Red Mom this time openly showed her affection. So what's your count now? Haran said, last week it was 1,500. Everyone got tense. But Hyunwoo proudly said, this week it's reached 3,000. Then Red Mom said, I've done a lot of research. It's all a game of immunity and strength. I've made a personalized diet plan for Haran. She'll get healthy meals every day. For the first time, Haran felt it. The love of her entire family was truly alive for her. Shuchol, her brother, personally made barbecue skewers just for her. On the side, Hyunwoo continuously prepared bites for her, wiped her mouth, and in that moment, Haran truly looked like the happiest girl in the world. That night, when they returned home, Hyunwoo softly blow-dried her hair, and this time his technique had noticeably improved. He gently said, you can be a little greedy. Whatever you need, I'll do it without any conditions. But Haran summed it all up in one simple line, you being with me is enough. The next morning, Hyunwoo invited Miss Gao to their home. In front of the whole family, she finally revealed grandfather had a secret fund, and most likely, it's hidden somewhere in Korea. She shared everything she had overheard from conversations between Madame Mu and Yin Sheng. Then she disguised the Hong family and making them look like real estate agents and art wholesalers, and they all entered a warehouse. To avoid Shucheol being caught, Gao said, he's from China, he doesn't speak Korean. When security asked, Gao cleverly responded, he just wants to look at the paintings. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo slipped inside to scan the office. A little later, Heron joined him. Together they discovered the entire warehouse was being used for money laundering through art pieces. But just then, Yin Sheng grew suspicious and headed toward the warehouse. Time was short, so Miss Gao and the rest of the family exited with caution. Rain began to pour as Heron and Hyunwoo stepped outside. Hyunwoo immediately took off his jacket and draped it over Heron. "Wait here," he said. I'll bring the car. But as soon as he left, Heron began to feel dizzy. A man approached, and it was Yin Sheng. But due to her illness, Heron mistook him for Hyunwoo and got into his car. While driving, Heron asked, "Do you think someone's following us?" Yin Sheng replied, "I'm here, don't worry, I'll take you home." Hyunwoo's car followed closely behind. Yin Sheng sped up, but Hyunwoo eventually broke through a barrier and blocked their path. That's when Heron realized the man with her was Yin Sheng, and Hyunwoo had come looking for her. Feeling guilty, Heron said, "I'm hiding something from you, but I only went with Yin Sheng to meet grandfather." Hyunwoo understood everything, but Yin Sheng insisted only Heron was invited. Hyunwoo agreed, and Heron left with Yin Sheng. They looked back at each other as they separated. Heron's eyes filled with reluctance, and Hyunwoo's heart heavy with tension. But then, someone struck Hyunwoo on the head with a baseball bat. When he regained consciousness, he was tied up. The attacker was one of Yin Sheng's hired goons. However, Hyunwoo used his words to manipulate the thug's mind. He said, "If you kill me, you won't get paid, and Yin Sheng will sacrifice you. You'll go down for murder." The thug hesitated and made a fake call to Yin Sheng. "It's done." Yin Sheng responded, "Good. Now shut up and don't call me again." The call ended. When the thug tried calling again, the phone was switched off. In this way, not only did Hyunwoo survive, but he also managed to turn Yin Sheng's man to his side. Meanwhile, Yin Sheng kept Heron occupied with a candlelight dinner. He showed her a childhood necklace and claimed, "I was the one who saved you back then." He lied again. "When you fell into the water, I saved your life." Yin Sheng's plan was to emotionally guilt Heron, to make her believe he was part of her destiny. Heron was thankful, but she clearly said, "There's only one husband in my heart, and that's Hyunwoo." After dinner, Yin Sheng took her to see grandfather. Heron was heartbroken to see him confused and restless. She quietly pulled out a voice recorder grandfather had once given her and said, "If you ever come to your senses, say whatever you want into this." Just then, they heard Madame Mu yelling outside, shouting at Yin Sheng for letting Hyunwoo enter. Heron was about to leave, but grandfather grabbed her hand and softly said, "If there's ever a war, hide in the air raid bunker beneath our house." Heron didn't understand the meaning of those words at that time. Outside, she had a brief encounter with Madame Mu, spoke one sharp line, and walked off, only to realize she forgot the way out. She wandered confused. Suddenly, she ran into Hyunwoo, but she was so unsure that she couldn't tell if it was him or Yin Sheng. She was scared of making another mistake. But when she saw Hyunwoo's bruises, he said, "I can take on 3 men at once. I'll always be ready for you." Watching the CTV, Yin Sheng saw the two close together and became furious. He picked up the phone and shouted, "Why hasn't that Hyunwoo been eliminated yet?" That's when he realized he had been double-crossed by his own man. Meanwhile, a hilarious mother-in-law made an epic entrance. For the first time, she spoke openly to her future daughter-in-law. "After marriage, don't bother meeting me too much. No birthdays, no New Year visits. If it's really necessary, just send an emoji on WhatsApp." She said, "I never treat daughters-in-law as daughters. I can scold my daughter, but not a daughter-in-law. And yes, like my son isn't perfect, he's full of flaws. You chose him, so there's no after-sale service. If he breaks down, fix him yourself. No returns allowed." White Hyuntae told Shu Cheol, "That's why my wife won the Best Woman in the Family award at the reunion." Hearing this, Shu Cheol drifted into memories of his own wife. Meanwhile, Dohye had run overseas with her son, but her boyfriend there started abusing her. When she learned that he was planning to falsely frame Shu Cheol, she quietly returned to Korea with her son. Back to Hyunwoo, he brought Heron to his rented apartment. She noticed the door password was still 10:31, their baby's original due date. It all came flooding back to her. Heron asked, "Why aren't you sleeping on the bed?" Hyunwoo replied, "I can sleep anywhere comfortably." Heron softly said, "Since the divorce, I haven't been able to sleep." Hyunwoo said, "This place is small, has no airflow. We're stuck together with no escape. Spending New Year's here with you feels perfect." Then Hyunwoo personally went to the kitchen to cook for her. Heron said, "You're handsome, talented. You cook so well. If I were born 100 times, I'd marry only you every time." In the morning, Heron woke up and saw Hyunwoo sleeping. She gently touched his hair. Hyunwoo opened his eyes, and Heron hugged him tightly. A few days later, Hyunwoo took Heron to the village's confession spot. He took out a ring. He said, "Divorce. Maybe it's too much pressure." Heron picked up the ring, wore it, then quietly removed it and placed it back. Then she softly confessed, "Last night, I mistook someone else for you. I thought Yin Sheng was you." When Heron had mistaken Yin Sheng for Hyunwoo, it had left a deep fear in her heart. It wasn't just confusion, but a sign that her health was deteriorating further. She started to feel, this isn't a dream, this is reality. Meanwhile, Dohye arrived in the village and met Shu Cheol. She returned all the money she had taken and knelt down before everyone to apologize. She confessed, "I only pretended to love Shu Cheol to extract money from the Fu family." While everyone was reacting and Red Mom was scolding her, Shu Cheol stepped forward to defend his wife and child. No matter what had happened, Shu Cheol truly loved Dohye. Dohye finally understood the person closest to her heart had always been Shu Cheol. During all this, another woman refused to remarry her ex-husband, but secretly wore the ring he gave her again. Her style was a bit quirky. The ring looked like a circular ghost. Just then, Hyunwoo's footsteps echoed. Heron tried to take off the ring, but there wasn't enough time. Hyunwoo softly said, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to pressure you. You said to return the ring and I'll return it." A faint sadness showed on Heron's face. Hyunwoo Hyunwoo turned to leave, but then turned back and said, "Wait a second, I've never seen this design before. This ring, it's quite stylish. You know I understand these things, and I really like this design. I always praise your taste, but not for analysis or fashion trends. You can remove it and analyze it if you want, or just leave it. I'm going." Haran felt a little embarrassed by his playful tone. She had a feeling Hyunwoo had figured out the secret in her heart. That night, after the family meeting, it was confirmed grandfather's secret fund was hidden right inside their house. Haran suddenly remembered what grandfather had once said: "If there's ever a war, hide in the air raid shelter beneath the house." Red Dad recalled that when the house was being built, grandfather had mentioned something about such a shelter, but no one had ever seen that place. Hyunwoo suspected something about the elevators, because the one in grandfather's building was different from all the others. On the other side, Yin Sheng summoned a full investigation team. Perhaps he too was searching for the fund. The truth was, grandfather had regained his senses a long time ago. Whenever the maid gave him medicine, he'd secretly pour it back into the bottle instead of taking it. Quietly every day, grandfather was preparing a rescue plan. But one day, Madame Mu caught him, and she threatened, "If you don't reveal the secret fund, I'll turn your life into hell." That very night, grandfather left behind a voice recording and then fell down the stairs himself. The next morning, the Red family found a crowd gathered outside their home. News broke that grandfather had passed away. When Aunt lifted the white sheet, there was blood on his head. She broke down crying, sobbing uncontrollably. His hands are still warm. At grandfather's last rites ceremony, it was announced, Madame Mu no longer had any legal authority. The family mourned in silence. Hyunwoo quietly placed his hand on Haran's, giving her his support without saying a word. On their way back home, they found Madame Mu standing by the gate. Hyunwoo calmly told her, "Your authority is over. Pack your things and leave." Back at home, Hyunwoo examined the elevator closely and noticed a hidden button beneath the railing. When he pressed it, a secret door opened. Everyone stared in shock. They had finally discovered grandfather's true vault. As the story neared its conclusion, two moms sat together, flipping through Hyunwoo's childhood photo album. His mother said, "When Hyunwoo was a child during the children's Marine Corps days, he once saved a girl from drowning." The other mom froze. That girl was none other than Haran. That moment felt like fate confirming itself. The scene ended with Haran, in classic tsundere fashion, subtly offering her ring forward, because deep in her heart, her answer had already been decided. When Haran learned that her illness might be curable, tears of joy welled up in her eyes. Hyunwoo looked at her and said, "You can't turn back now." Haran smiled and said, "I'm the CEO of Queen Department Store. I hate people who break the no return, no refund policy the most. I won't be taking my decision back." After grandfather's death, the family finally found his secret vault, but they were too late. Marks on the floor showed where a box had been. It meant Madame Mao had already transferred 900 billion KRW in secret. In truth, Madame Mao had discovered the vault's location by watching grandfather's old VHS tapes. When everyone asked her, "Where's the money?" she pretended to know nothing and scolded them instead. "Dad just passed away and all you care about is money?" Aunt shouted at her. "Shut up and get out of this house." But Madame Mu refused. "I'm a legal resident. Unless you show me a written eviction notice, I'm not going anywhere." Meanwhile, Haran quietly entered her room and pulled out the voice recorder grandfather had left behind. In the recording, grandfather said, "Trusting an outsider cost me everything." At the funeral, everyone felt the deep pain in their hearts. After the ceremony, Haran found herself thinking, "It feels like a rehearsal for my own funeral." As the crowd left, she thought to herself, "I'll be the one left buried alone." Hearing her words broke Hyunwoo from the inside. He didn't know how to save her. Haran had 1,000 reasons to live, but life and death decisions were no longer in her control. At the same time, Madame Mu took Yin Sheng to a hidden gold vault, stacked with cash. Their evil plan was complete. Back home, a call came from the German doctor. Haran's life could be saved, but there was a risk of memory loss. Hyunwoo informed everyone, and they all agreed not to tell Haran the truth, because she would never accept living without her memories. That night, Haran cried with joy. "Can I really survive?" Hyunwoo held her tightly to sleep, but inside, another battle raged in his mind. If she loses her memory, will she still remember me? The next morning, Haran woke up and softly said, "Sleeping in your arms is the most comfortable feeling in the world." Then she smiled and said, "Let's go out today. Let's take a walk. The whole day, Hyunwoo made sure to capture every single moment. Haran looked at him and said, "Earlier I was so busy with work, but after the operation, I want to live life fully." When the two of them sat on a bench, Haran said softly, "I have 3 secrets to tell you. I want to share them with you before the surgery." "The first secret," she began, "that MP3 player you had in school, it was mine. My name was engraved on it." Hyunwoo froze in shock. "You mean the girl I liked at first sight was you?" "I still remember," he whispered. "Your ponytail, your shoes, your smile. From that moment till now, you've always been my dream girl." Haran smiled and said, "I'm written just for you. I'm your destiny. I accept your divorce cancellation," she added. Hyunwoo hugged her tightly and said, "You can't back out now. I'll be with you always." Haran gently rested her head on his shoulder, while Hyunwoo's mind quietly asked, "If she forgets everything, will I become just a stranger to her again?" The next day, Haran wandered through her own Queen Department Store as an ordinary customer. "I used to find people annoying who'd come to the mall just to sit around and not buy anything," she said. "But now, I get it." She had only planned to buy a lip balm, but ended up taking home a moisturizer, a coat, a scarf, gloves, and perfume, a quiet celebration of rediscovering her right to live. She had redesigned the entire store layout, thinking it would increase sales by eliminating rest zones hormones and redirecting movement. But when she experienced it herself, she realized, my strategy was too much. Her perspective had changed. She ordered the return of luxurious, comfy sofas and added open-air musical concerts on the ground floor, inviting couples and families to enjoy weekends again. Back in the village, Heron remembered an old tale. If you color your nails with balsam flowers and the color stays until school reopens, your first love will come true. Without wasting time, she dyed her nails and ran to find Hyunwoo, stopping him on the road before evening fell, proudly showing her fingertips. But Hyunwoo was confused. He didn't know that he was Heron's first love. Meanwhile, Doya helped Mom in the kitchen. Her knife skills impressed everyone. Even though she occasionally clashed with her mother-in-law, a gentle mama slipped from her mouth, filled with newfound affection. That night, it was their last evening in the village. Shucheol said he wanted to stay back for a few more days, just to feel a little more independent. Heron casually said, Hyunwoo and I will get our own place now. Mom understood immediately. A new chapter had begun for them. She smiled and gave them her blessing. The next day, as they returned to their apartment, a neighbor auntie greeted them in the elevator, still under the impression that Hyunwoo was single. Back home, Heron turned flirtatious. Hyunwoo teased, I married a really gorgeous woman. Heron smiled. Then from today, we're a newlywed couple enjoying our honeymoon phase. And so began their sweet, romantic routine, eating meals together, playfully making dumplings, washing dishes as a team, watching movies side by side, going shopping, and taking long walks hand in hand. On the day of Queen Department Store's lighting renovation, Hyunwoo secretly arranged for artificial snowfall, fulfilling one of Heron's childhood dreams. She smiled and said, I used to travel an hour extra every day just to see one bus. Which bus? Hyunwoo asked. Bus 372, she said. A certain boy used to ride it. You were the bus boy. Me? He asked. Yes, she whispered. It was always you. Later, Red Dad showed his gratitude by gifting Hyunwoo's family an entire building. Then, Hyunwoo took Heron to Germany for treatment. During the road trip, Heron revealed her third secret, that English teacher you thought I studied with for 4 years on the top floor. It was a lie I made up, and you believed it. Around this time, Yin Sheng found out that Heron's surgery might erase her memory. He secretly went to her house and removed every trace of Hyunwoo. Photos, gifts, memories, everything. Outside the hospital, Hyunwoo finally told her the truth. If you undergo this surgery, you might lose your memories. Heron was shocked and refused the surgery. I want to go home, she said. Please listen to me. I want to live. So instead of heading off on a honeymoon, they went to visit a cemetery. I want my grave to be near the park, Heron said softly, so that I'll still be close to home. One day, Heron and Hyunwoo spotted an old man placing flowers at the grave of his deceased wife. Hyunwoo quietly whispered, maybe I'll never be able to do that. Perhaps Heron thought he was just weaving some poetic fairy tale, but even so, her heart filled with a warm kind of happiness. After that, the two traveled to countless honeymoon destinations. And everywhere they went, it felt like the place didn't matter, as long as they had each other. Those travels became some of the most treasured memories of their lives. But 3 years later came a surgery, one that would erase all of Heron's memories. Despite Hyunwoo's silent tears and pleading eyes, Heron refused the surgery. To her, Hyunwoo wasn't just a person. He was the emotion her life had been built on. What terrified her wasn't the procedure itself. It was the idea of forgetting everything, becoming someone else entirely and not recognizing Hyunwoo. That felt even more painful than death. That night, after Heron drifted into sleep, Hyunwoo quietly left for church and to pray. Every night since, he would silently slip out, walking alone under the cold sky, hoping heaven would hear him. Eventually, Heron grew curious. Where do you disappear to every night? So one evening, she secretly followed him. When she saw him kneeling in church, hands clasped in quiet desperation, she murmured, this is useless. Nothing will change. Even so, Hyunwoo still picked up a prayer card and wrote his silent plea. But to Heron, those cards were just empty words. Paper couldn't carry the weight of love. The next morning, they returned to the same flower field where they'd once made honeymoon memories 3 years ago. Heron vividly remembered every moment, every laugh, every glance, every breeze. Meanwhile, the entire family had now learned about her decision to decline the surgery. One by one, they tried to convince her. Her father broke down during a video call. I've contacted every doctor across the world, and everywhere I hear only one name, Baek Hyunwoo, because all this time, Hyunwoo had never stopped. Night after night, across international time zones, he'd been making calls, searching for hope, refusing to give up. As her dad sobbed on the call, he closed the video, but forgot to mute the mic. Heron, sitting nearby, softly whispered, Papa is crying, and so am I. Later, Hyunwoo took Heron for another hospital checkup, but in a blink, she vanished. Panic-stricken, Hyunwoo searched every floor, every hallway, shouting her name. Finally, tucked away in the quiet corner of a church, a prayer card revealed itself, this time written by Heron. When I look back at my life, only 2 things feel truly valuable. 1, the feeling of loving someone. 2, living in someone else's love. I can't leave these memories behind. I'm not asking for help. Just let me live in my own way. Let me die with my memories. And in that small corner of the church, Heron sat curled up, tears silently rolling down her cheeks. Hyunwoo found her there, and without a word, dropped beside her, wrapping her tightly in his arms. And in that moment, both of them broke, sobbing like they never had before, holding each other like it was the last time they'd ever feel whole. Heron quietly whispers, don't give me a reason to live. Don't give me a desire to survive. Because if I do survive, I won't remember you. I'll become someone else. Her voice trembles with fear, not of dying, but of forgetting the man who had become her entire world. But Hyunwoo holds her hands tightly and replies, if you become someone else, I'll fall in love with you all over again. I'll meet you for the first time. Again. Heron, unsure and scared, keeps repeating the same sentence. Even if you don't love me, even if you don't love me. Over and over, as if speaking her fears out loud might somehow protect her from them. But deep down, she was only trying to hear from him the reassurance her heart needed. Meanwhile, Madame Mu had already decided she would get rid of Heron before the surgery could even take place. When Miss Gao caught wind of the plot, she immediately tried to warn Heron through a call. At the same time, Hyunwoo also felt something was wrong, a strange heaviness in his chest, and rushed outside to check on Heron. Was she still in the car? That very moment, a massive truck sped straight toward their parked vehicle. The collision was inevitable, and while all this tension played out, far away in the village, a lighthearted subplot was unfolding. The chaebol's son, Shuchol, had taken up running a noodle stall. He was selling instant noodles and giving away imported crabs and abalone for free with each bowl, making the shipping cost thousands of times more than the noodles themselves. People brought their relatives from neighboring towns. The tiny shop became an overnight sensation. Shuchol proudly bragged, "Someone just ate 3 packs in a row." Red Mom was nearly in tears, not because of the nostalgia, but because crab, abalone, and shrimp prices were sky high. These were now the most expensive noodles in Korea. That night, everyone teased Shuchol. "Did you get fired from your job?" But he declared, "I didn't get fired. I took an honorable retirement with responsibility." Villagers laughed and said, "Stop causing trouble for the elderly here. Go back to Seoul." But Shuchol refused. He wanted to find a balance between village charm and big city supermarkets. Back in reality, Madame Mu had already set her murder plan in motion right before the surgery. Hyunwoo, risking his life, sprinted toward the smoking, burning car. Smoke had swallowed the entire vehicle. Nothing was visible. People screamed from behind, "It'll explode! Stay away!" But Hyunwoo didn't stop. With his bare hands, he shattered the car window. But when he looked inside, it was empty. Then suddenly he turned and saw Heron standing safe and unharmed. She had only stepped out for a moment to pick a good luck 4-leaf clover. Hyunwoo collapsed into her arms, overwhelmed, and cried like never before. While tending to his wounds, Heron casually said, "If I died, you would have gone crazy crying. You're too sweet. If another girl took you, I'd rise from my grave to take you back." And finally, that very moment, Heron said yes to the surgery. Hyunwoo hugged her tightly, eyes brimming with tears of relief. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo's sister made a shocking confession. Her husband was having an affair. One night, when she called, an American woman picked up. The only thing she could manage in her basic English was, "How are you?" Furious, she yelled, "He got an English-speaking girlfriend just to humiliate me." The night before surgery, Hyunwoo once again confessed his love. Heron smiled softly and said, "It's a shame. I'll forget all these sweet things tomorrow." Then she handed him a diary. "After the surgery, we'll read this together. Promise?" The next morning, as Heron was being taken to the operation theater, she said, "When I open my eyes, the first face I want to see is yours." She lay on the stretcher, heading down the long corridor, while Hyunwoo sat in a corner, quietly sobbing, holding that same 4-leaf clover in his hand. But just as the surgery was about to end, police stormed into the hospital and arrested Hyunwoo. "You are a suspect in a real estate agent's death," they said coldly. And at that moment, Yin Sheng appeared in the hallway. Everyone immediately understood. This was his trap. When Heron comes out of the operation, Hyunwoo is in handcuffs, pinned to the ground, and in his eyes, there's only one face, Heron's. Hyunwoo's arrest news spreads in the media like wildfire. The entire family finds out. Red Dad, Hong Fu, immediately calls the hospital, but it's Yin Sheng who picks up the phone. Yin Sheng calmly says, "The surgery went very well. I'll take care of Heron." But behind the scenes, he quietly places foreign travel restrictions on Heron's entire family. No one is allowed to come to the hospital. By that time, Heron's memory is completely erased. When she opens her eyes, the first face she sees is Yin Sheng's. But she reflexively takes her husband's name, Hyunwoo. Yin Sheng immediately spins a new story. He says, "We were each other's first love. You mistakenly married Hyunwoo, but finally you divorced him. And your deepest hatred is also for him. Because in your memories, only his name remains in the form of pain. He is a murder suspect. The police have already arrested him." At that moment, snow is falling outside. Hyunwoo remembers. Heron had said, "When it snows, and if the color of orange balsam flower is still on my nails, then my first love will definitely come true." Hyunwoo is breaking from within. He doesn't know. Will Heron ever remember him? On the other side, Heron is looking at snowflakes, and suddenly her eyes fall on the orange stain on her nail paint. A strange sting rises in her heart. Yin Sheng had tried to burn Heron's written diary, but a miracle of nature happened. The heavy snow put out the fire. The diary only got slightly burnt. Yin Sheng memorized the diary's content and created a new story. He told Heron, "We were caught in a car accident. To save you, I risked my life. And Hyunwoo, your ex-husband, was behind all this. He had planned it, and when he was about to be exposed, he thought about divorcing you." At night, when Heron is sleeping, she sees a kind of flashback where she sees herself self-harming. She remembers Yin Sheng's words. Slowly, she starts believing him. 1 month later, Heron comes back to Korea. Her family comes to the airport to receive her, but Heron is very cold and distant. She didn't even know that Yin Sheng had blocked their departure, so that no one could be with her during the surgery. Yin Sheng had also put this in Heron's mind. "Your parents only loved your brother. You were never close to anyone. Even your grandpa was tired of his children's fights. That's why he wrote everything in my name, because he knew you would marry me." No matter how much the family tries, Heron is completely under Yin Sheng's influence. house. After returning home, Heron tries to remember her past. All the drawers are found empty. Then she says, understanding your enemy is also a strategy. And she goes to meet Hyunwoo in jail. She says, it's safe to meet here. Anyway, I think, how foolish I was to fall in love with someone like you, a killer. But as soon as Hyunwoo comes in front, a strange pain rises in Heron's heart. She doesn't know why seeing that man filled her heart with pain. Heron quietly asks Hyunwoo, how's your recovery going? Then in a cold tone, she says, I found out what you did to me, even at the time of divorce, how much you hurt me. Hyunwoo understands. This is all a story made up by Yin Sheng. Hyunwoo gently says to her, if you've come this far, it means you've doubted his words a little. He sees that orange balsam flower color on Heron's nails, and from his heart, apologizes. Forgive me. I wasn't there by your side when you regained consciousness. The visit time starts to end. Hyunwoo doesn't want to let Heron go, but he only says, take care of yourself. Heron also feels something for him from within. Just before leaving, her heart tightens. At the same time, Yinsheng finds out that Heron survived a car accident in Germany, and behind it was her mother. Yinsheng angrily says, if you hurt Heron again, I will put you in jail. He has proof that the mother drugged the old chairman and paralyzed him. The court day arrives. Hyunwoo's strong lawyer team presents evidence. Green fibers were found on the crime weapon, but Hyunwoo didn't wear those clothes that day. CCTV footage shows a man in a green jacket stealing a knife from his house and clothes being burned. Burned cloth residue matches the murder weapon. At last, the true killer is found, and the judge declares Hyunwoo innocent. On the release day, Heron is quietly waiting at the jail gate. From a distance, she watches Hyunwoo greeting everyone around him. When he's in a big family hug, Heron quietly takes out her notebook and writes, my ex-husband's family is very loving. Then she sees Hyunwoo not eating tofu and writes in the notebook, he doesn't like tofu. Suddenly, Hyunwoo turns around. Heron quickly hides close and ducks away. Then she follows Hyunwoo all the way back to the village. She sees the whole village welcoming him. His younger brothers are also there. Secretary Luo says, he's here because of a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law conflict. Heron says, was there no other place left to hide in the world? You had to hide at your ex-wife's mother's house? But when she sees everyone laughing together, her heart slightly melts. Heron sees the mother-in-law is making red bean sweet porridge, and everyone is around her. A sweet family moment. She takes out her notebook and writes, Hyunwoo likes red bean sweet porridge. Secretary Luo jokes, this isn't some enemy analysis study. It just feels like a one-sided crush. He asks, you have such good judgment, but you still don't know who you love? Then softly says one line, where the heart goes, that's where destiny lies. At the company, when Heron sees Hyunwoo, she immediately hides. Then she says to herself, I'm superior to him. I don't need to hide. She makes an excuse. I just want to say one thing to him. But when she walks out, Hyunwoo isn't there. She feels a bit disappointed. But as soon as she turns the corner, Hyunwoo is standing there waiting for her. They both say, we need to talk. Then they sit down and talk. Heron says, can you change your job? Your presence here makes me feel uncomfortable. Then she says, I'm not going to fall for your words again. Never again. She gets up and leaves, but her bag gets stuck in the chair. She thinks Hyunwoo grabbed it. She feels a bit awkward, but pretends everything is normal. Outside, she facepalms in embarrassment. At that moment, the hospital cleaner in Germany finds Heron's diary and sends it back to her by post. A few days later, Heron receives a courier. She hasn't even opened the diary yet when she receives an invitation letter for SeaWorld. She finds out she had booked it herself before the surgery, but now she doesn't remember anything. Still, out of curiosity, she decides to go there. When Heron arrives at SeaWorld, she finds out that Hyunwoo is also there. Then, the staff tells her all of this was planned by Heron herself before the surgery. She had even sent an invitation to Hyunwoo. Then, on a large screen, their wedding video starts playing. The staff hands over a bouquet of flowers and says, Miss Heron booked all this 1 month ago. Heron looks a bit confused. Then the staff says, you had also booked SeaWorld 4 years ago. Hearing this, Hyunwoo remembers. Back when they were dating, he used to think how everywhere they went, it always felt like it was just the two of them. Back then, he used to think, maybe God is giving me private time, but now he understands. It was all Heron's planning. She was quietly creating romance. Heron sees her own handwriting on the bouquet's card and is shocked. Hyunwoo gently says, doubt everyone, question everything anyone says, but just once, judge the truth from your heart. Then Heron sees that Hyunwoo's hand is injured. She recalls Yin Sheng's false dialogues, how he claimed he saved Heron. Heron becomes confused and decides to go directly ask Yin Sheng the truth. When she meets Yin Sheng, she carefully observes his hands. There's no sign of any injury. Then while Yin Sheng goes to get a drink, Heron notices a CCTV video playing on his platform, in which it's clearly shown that Madame Mu poisoned the chairman. When Yin Sheng returns, Heron quickly makes an excuse and leaves the place. Back home, Heron opens the parcel sent from Germany. Inside it is the diary, the one she had written for Hyunwoo before the surgery. If I die, then please don't forget me right away. But I want you to find happiness again. You take care of my entire estate. Use it for something good. And if I survive but lose my memory and treat you badly, then please understand. As soon as she reads the diary, Heron's memories begin to return. She rushes out like crazy to find Hyunwoo, Akwardik. But Yin Sheng had planted a tracker in her car. They spot each other from opposite sides of the road. The green signal turns on, and Heron vanishes. Hyunwoo chases in the serious car crash, but he only takes minimal treatment because he needs to rescue Heron. He tells Miss Gao, Heron is missing. This news must reach Madame Mu. When Madame Mu finds out that her son, Yin Sheng, had converted all Korean currency into US dollars and taken it away, she sets out herself to find him. Hyunwoo and his Heron's lawyer secretly follow her, which leads to the family hunting ground. Before entering, Hyunwoo tells the lawyer, "Make sure you call the police." Meanwhile, Heron wakes up and asks Yinsheng, "Why have you tied me up?" Yinsheng says, "I can do anything to protect you." Heron, putting on a fake expression, says, "I read the diary, but anyone can copy handwriting. I only met Hyunwoo for confirmation." Yinsheng starts doubting her a bit, but says, "If you come to America with me and marry me, I'll forget all of this." At that moment, Heron is frightened by his scary expression and agrees for now while secretly forming a plan. Just then, Madame Mu also arrives and says to Yinsheng, "You can take Heron with you, but first, give me all the property and the murder evidence." As a child, Yinsheng had seen with his own eyes. His mother deliberately planned a boat accident in which Heron and her brother both fell into the sea. But the young Hyunwoo saved one of them, Heron, while her brother died in that accident. At the time, Yinsheng used to think his mother did it so she and her son could be together sooner. But as he grew older, he realized it was nothing but madness. At that moment, Heron secretly overhears their conversation. Yinsheng becomes suspicious and immediately chases after her. Heron runs, but thankfully she finds Hyunwoo. They grab hands and start running, and this scene is witnessed by Yinsheng. He picks up a hunting rifle and starts chasing them. Both of them reach a spot in the hunting ground. Hyunwoo, broken and in pain, says, "You go. My friend will be waiting for you outside." Just then, Yinsheng finds them. He says, "Heron, come with me." But Heron clearly refuses. Then the police arrive and surround them, yet Yinsheng still refuses to surrender. When Heron says, "I'd rather die than go with you," Yinsheng completely breaks down and says, "If I can't have her, no one else will." He points the gun at Heron to die together like doomed lovers. The police intervene just in time. Yinsheng gets shot. In the ambulance, Heron holds Hyunwoo's hand and says, "Stay alive. Nothing should happen to you." Hyunwoo feels grateful that Heron is still alive. Tears fall from his eyes. Before surgery, Hyunwoo says, "Wait for me." Heron promises, "I won't go anywhere." She waits outside the surgery room the whole time. Then she remembers when she was going into surgery, she had also told Hyunwoo to wait. But when she woke up, she didn't recognize him. Heron sits on the floor and cries. At the same time, Madame Mu hears of Yinsheng's death. She transfers all the property documents to her own name. On the other side, Heron's mother is looking at a photo album and discovers that it was Hyunwoo who saved Heron. Heron and Hyunwoo now have a sweet baby together. The two of them make a promise. If either of us goes first, the other will come as an angel to welcome them. That way, death won't be scary. Once again, Heron is by Hyunwoo's hospital bed and says, "I still haven't regained all my memory, but you are the most important person in my heart. I keep making excuses to meet you. Seeing you brings pain." Heron stays up the whole night waiting for him. Then she comes up with a plan. She pretends to faint just to see how Hyunwoo reacts. And the moment Hyunwoo wakes up, he panics and gently touches Heron with love. Then the diary opens. Heron complains, "Before surgery, I couldn't plan everything. I only managed to leave this diary." He goes to the washroom, and when he returns, he sees that another line has been written in the diary. Heron says, "Maybe my past self wrote that." Hyunwoo, trying not to laugh, says, "You're so cute." But laughing makes his pain worse. During lunch, Heron feeds him porridge, nyashros, and says, "You're handsome and talented. You match every item on my perfect list." Then Heron's uncle returns to reclaim the Queen group. Everyone gathers in the hospital room to plan. During this time, Do-hai tells the High Lady, "Let's go confess." Madame Gao says, "I've already started my redemption. I placed the MP3 in Hyunwoo's room. I helped with the parcel from Germany, and I also brought Yinsheng's tablet." Then Do-hai says, "If the Hong family wants to win in court, you'll have to testify against Madame Mo." When the court day comes, Madame Mu acts like a helpless mother who just lost her son. She puts all the blame on her now dead son Yinsheng. But thankfully, Do-hai appears in court. She says that under Madame Mu's instructions, she secretly provided several internal documents from her in-laws. At the same time, Heron also gives testimony. She presents video proof showing that Madame Mu had poisoned the chairman. And another major truth, Heron's brother's death in a childhood sailboat accident was also planned by Madame Mu. The judge finally gives the verdict. Madame Mu is guilty. She is sent to jail. After this decision, everyone's life returns to a peaceful, normal path. Gugu, aunt, is now busy going on dates with her love interest. Do-hai had turned herself in, and now her husband, Soo Cheol, takes care of the child at home. Heron's parents hand over the company's control to the elder brother, and sometimes they visit the village to spend time with the in-laws. Meanwhile, whenever Heron and Hyunwoo see each other at the office, they don't feel like parting. They often go out on dates. Now life has truly become sweet. A few years later, Do-hai is released from jail. Soo Cheol comes with their son to welcome her. Madame Gao also walks out at that time. Heron and Hyunwoo are now away on a foreign trip with their baby. An old man, holding a bouquet of flowers, remembers his late wife. That old man is none other than Hyunwoo. And then, he goes to the honeymoon field where he once spent time with Heron. The same field where the two held hands and made a promise. If one goes first, the other will become an angel and welcome them. And just like that, a love story made of pain and memories comes to a peaceful and beautiful end.